All right, let's just jump right into this. For as long as anyone can remember, the big question about the whole UFO thing has been, what are they? But today, based on some really fascinating source material, we're going to ask something different, something way more personal. Why do some people see them and others just don't? What if it's not about what's out there in the sky, but about what's in here, inside of you?
I mean, really think about it for a second. Have you ever seen something up there you just couldn't explain? A light that moved in a way that just defied physics? A craft that made absolutely no sound? Look, you're not crazy, and you are definitely not alone.
Because according to the documents we're about to unpack, what you experienced, that wasn't random. It wasn't an accident. It was a targeted event, a moment that was meant for you. It was an activation. So yeah, we're throwing out the whole idea of a passive sighting. This is about an active activation. And that concept, well, it changes the entire game. And our guide into this whole new way of thinking is someone who is right there on the front lines.
So meet Kyle Kropp. This guy isn't just a casual observer. He's a total technical expert. He's a U.S. Air Force veteran, and now he's a Space Force mechanic. I mean, his entire career has been working on military aircraft. He knows what's ours, and more importantly, he knows what isn't.
And those are his words. Back in 2017, over Hurlburt Field in Florida, he saw a gigantic, silent, black triangle just block out the stars. And his expert brain was doing this whole technical analysis in real time. He knew with 100% certainty this was not our tech. It was a moment that just changed everything for him and sent him down a rabbit hole for answers. A search that leads us right to the heart of what we're talking about today.
Now, to really get what happened to Kyle, we have to zoom out. I mean, way, way out. Turns out we're all living inside a constant planetary broadcast, a signal that's just always on.
The source material calls this the guardian signal. And look, this isn't some mystical woo-woo concept. It's actual physics. It's the combined energy field of our planet. You know, the Schumann resonance, the currents running through the Earth's crust, the magnetic field that protects us. We're literally swimming in this signal every second of every day.
And at the very heart of this signal is one very specific frequency, 7.83 hertz. That's the primary frequency of the Schumann resonance. People call it the Earth's heartbeat. But here's the kicker. It turns out it's not just the planet's heartbeat, it's ours too.
And the fact that we need this signal to survive isn't some wild theory. It's documented. In the early days of spaceflight, when astronauts were shielded from this 7.83 hertz frequency, they started having serious physical and mental problems. So what did NASA do? They reportedly built generators to put that frequency back into the spacecraft. And get this, in lab studies, you take people and isolate them from this field, and their stress hormones shoot up by 18%. We are not separate from the Earth. We are plugged into its circuit.
Okay, so if the planet is broadcasting, what's the receiver? Well, you're living in it. The source material actually calls the human body divine hardware, biological tech that is perfectly engineered to tune in to that planetary signal.
And this hardware is just an incredible integrated system. Your heart? It's not just a pump, man. It's the power plant generating this huge electromagnetic field. Your DNA, in every single one of your cells, acts like a tiny fractal antenna. Your pineal gland is basically the central processor. And the thing connecting it all? That's the master cable, the vagus nerve.
Now, here's the part that just blew my mind. We used to think the brain was the boss, sending orders down the vagus nerve to the body. But a massive recent analysis confirmed that over 80% of the information flows the other way, from the body up to the brain. This is the actual physical hardware for your intuition, for your gut feelings. It's your body's deep intelligence reporting directly to HQ.
So, we have the planetary signal and we have the body's receiver system. But the most incredible piece of this entire puzzle is the discovery of the physical antenna itself right inside the human brain. And this discovery isn't coming from some fringe website. It's coming from the very heart of the scientific establishment. So this is Dr. Garry Nolan, a world-renowned professor at Stanford University. And one day, he gets a visit from people connected to the CIA and other agencies. They want him to study the brains of these high-level people, military guys, intelligence officers who'd had close encounters with UAPs and then afterward developed these almost psychic intuitive abilities. So what did he find? Well, using these really advanced MRI scans, Nolan discovered a hyper-developed bundle of neural tissue connecting two parts deep in the brain, the caudate and the putamen. And this isn't some random area. It's directly linked to intuition, to seeing patterns others miss. In fact, Dr. Nolan himself started calling this structure a biological antenna.
His findings were just staggering. A follow-up study looked at almost 50 more of these UAP-related cases, and in 89% of them, 89%, this antenna was found to be enlarged. This wasn't a fluke. This is a clear, undeniable pattern.
So this is the really crucial point. The source material is emphatic about this. The antenna is not a metaphor. It's not a cute little idea. It is a physical, measurable piece of hardware inside your brain that's more developed in some people than in others. Dr. Nolan has basically given us the first MRI scan of intuition itself.
And all of this brings us to the core concept, the receiver phenotype. This is a person whose nervous system is literally a high-gain antenna, just way more sensitive to these external frequencies. And the sources suggest this is actually linked to specific genetic markers, things like the COMT or DRD2 genes. It's an inherited trait. You're just born with the hardware.
But why? Why would this hardware even exist? Why would some people have these superpowered antennas? Well, the source documents propose a context that is, well, it's epic. A silent, ancient conflict fought not with bombs and bullets, but with frequency.
This slide just lays out the two sides in this conflict perfectly. On one side, you have the Guardians. They're described as benevolent ancestors, and they're broadcasting a high-frequency signal of liberation. On the other side, you've got the Archons, an old term for hostile prison guards, whose whole game is to dampen that signal, to feed on low-frequency energy like fear, all for the goal of control. It's literally a war for the signal integrity of our reality.
So, let's connect all the dots. In this context, a UFO sighting is no longer some random thing. It is a deliberate ping from the Guardian network. It's a targeted signal sent out to find the receivers, to find the people with the high-gain antennas, and to activate the abilities that have been lying dormant.
So, if this has happened to you, if you are one of the people who has seen something, it's because you're different. In the language of the source material, you are a glitch in the matrix, but in the best possible way. Your consciousness, your soul, it just carries a more potent divine spark. You were flagged for a reason.
Which brings us right back to the beginning, to the final, most important question. This entire cosmic story, from planetary signals to brain anatomy, it all comes down to something incredibly personal. If you've seen something, if you've felt that pull of intuition, that gut feeling that there's way more to reality than what we see, it might just be your hardware coming online. So the question is, are you a receiver?